What's up everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a testing video and I'm going to be testing two makeup products. The first one I'm going to be testing is the Rimmel London Match Perfection foundation. And the reason I've chosen a foundation is because there's a lot of drugstore brands out there with a lot of different types of foundations, and obviously you don't want to be spending loads of money on a high-end like foundation because it's the product that you use all the time, and you don't want to be like running out and having to spend loads of money on a different foundation. So I chose this one because it's affordable, $8.29 in Superdrug, and it's supposedly weightless with smooth texture. It also says that it's going to reduce imperfection, pores and dark circles. There's a lot that they say about it on the website. Yeah, I thought I'd give that a go, sort of, you know, help you out when choosing which foundation to buy. And also I picked up a palette by the brand Revolution, and it's the Regeneration Revelation palette, and it looks like this. And in my opinion it reminds me of the Huda Beauty Rose Gold palette. I think it's like a good dupe for that palette. I think that it might be like worth purchasing it if you don't want to spend like £50 on the Rose Gold Huda Beauty palette, and you know, if it swatches well, because I literally, the only like thing that I've done is look at this palette. It's literally unused, brand new palette, not even touched. I'm just gonna firstly go ahead and try out the new foundation, and we're gonna try applying it with a beauty blender and a brush, because I know that not everybody uses a beauty blender. A lot of people use beauty blenders, but I know that not everybody would choose to use one. I'm gonna do some of my face with a beauty blender, some of my face with a brush, and we're just gonna see how it goes and how it applies. So, right, now that we're zoomed in, I'm going to firstly go ahead and apply my infallible matte L'Oreal Paris primer just all over the face, just to make sure that the foundation will stay on and apply evenly on my skin. So I just put it all in the T-zone. I like to apply like a fair amount all over the skin. I'm going to wet my beauty blender with my setting spray first, because that's how I like to apply any product to my face. I like to wet my beauty blender with setting spray, just because A, you're supposed to wet your beauty blender so it doesn't soak up loads of your product, and B, just so like the setting spray can do like its work, you know, to help set the makeup in when you're pressing it into your skin. And yes, my beauty blender is pretty dirty, so it's due a clean. Let's just put it that way. It comes in a 30 milliliter bottle with a pump on the top. So I'm just going to pump a little bit on the back of my hand. And a lot comes out for one pump as well. So I'm probably going to just do 2 pumps on the back of my hand. Like so, and that gives a lot of product. I'm choosing to just dot this product on my skin. It says that it's a medium coverage foundation and it's got SPF in it, so you don't need to worry about putting SPF on before applying this. Right, now that I've dotted that in, now this is dried a little bit, so I'm going to put some more on. Right, now my beauty blender's nice and wet. I'm just going to go and blend this into my skin. And yeah, it does look a little like yellow toned, this shade, but you know, the more I blend it out, you know, blend it, build it up on my skin, you know, the less should show. So it's blending in quite nicely. I'm just going to get my mirror. Yeah, it's blending in quite nicely. You know, it doesn't look that like cakey on the skin. It's looking quite nice on the skin. So with a beauty blender, I'd say it works really well with a wet beauty blender. Smoothly goes into the skin, just pressing it in. I mean, around like bigger sort of drier blemishes, it doesn't really do them much favours, but I'm sure I can cover that up with concealer, so when I do the rest of my makeup. on top of this. You can obviously tell that I've got foundation on. Like, it's not like it's completely like invisible or whatever. So I like that, and the coverage is really good. I'd say that it is medium coverage because you can still see a few like pores, you know, poking through, but not many. And you can definitely like see a couple of spots, you know, darker parts on my skin. So I definitely agree with the fact that it's medium coverage, which I quite like because I don't like full coverage that much because it completely looks cakey on my skin. So I'm not really a fan of like full coverage, but medium coverage I can sort of do. Like, this definitely covers up a lot of imperfections on my face, since you all know from my skincare video that I have acne. And now that I've done that side, I feel like it's definitely blended. I'm going to use a brush on this side of my face. I'm going to sort of turn my head so you can kind of see what I'm doing better. And I'm going to use my foundation brush, which looks like this. It definitely needs to clean as well as my blender, but we're going to be real. I'm going to be real with you. I'm not going to be that person who like cleans my brushes before the video so you think I've got like perfect brushes and all of that. Now, I've still got quite a fair bit on the back of my hand from the 2 pumps that I used. So we'll see if this, you know, needs anything. So I'm just going to go in and sort of do downwards dabbing motions with the brush to sort of blend it in. Get the mirror again just to see how well it's blending properly. Yeah, it's blending alright, but it's, you know, because I'm doing a brush, there's lots of like streaky motions on my face, but that's probably because of the way I'm using the brush. So I'm just going to sort of dab it. See if that definitely makes a difference, dabbing the brush like so. But you can, I don't know if you can see, but there's lots of like sort of streaky patches. Well, it's not gone into the skin as well as it did with the beauty blender, especially around the eye when I do this sort of motion, sort of leave streak lines there. So I'm just going to get the beauty blender. I think it works better with the beauty blender, and I can see why the beauty blender has definitely become a sort of bigger, well-known makeup applicator, because it's definitely better at doing foundation and concealer and all of that. But I definitely like this foundation for its like coverage and you know, its blendability. Like, you can use a brush. I think definitely a brush does work, but you just have to be careful with the way you use the brush. Now, I definitely think that this foundation is worth buying because at the moment I'm saying it's definitely a winner because of its blendability and its coverage. But obviously I'm not going to say 100% that it's great because obviously I haven't like worn it throughout the day yet, so I don't know how well it's going to go down throughout the rest of the day. Straight after I finish this makeup, I'm going out. When I come back home later, I'll check back in with you all and like tell you if, you know, it's stayed on or, you know, all the things like that. I'm just going to go ahead off camera and apply the rest of my makeup. Right, I'm back, and as you can see, I've done my base makeup now, like all the rest of it, you know, all of the stuff that just go on the face area. And I have to say, I think that foundation's really good as a base for like underneath all the rest of the products, because when I baked, the powder went on really nicely onto my skin. When applying my contour, it literally swept on really nicely, blended in so much nice. And I don't know if whether it's just like one of those days where it just goes on really well and it just works really well, or whether it's the foundation. But if it is the foundation, then great. Everything blended in so nicely to my skin, which has left a really sort of nice, really nice sort of finish to my skin. So far the foundation is looking really good. But now on to the really exciting bit where I get to try the Revelation palette. I don't know why all their names like tongue twisters for this palette. So the brand is Revolution Pro, then it's called Regeneration, and then the name of the palette is Revelation. So it's like Revolution, Regeneration, Revelation, and it's like, whoa. Here's what the palette looks like. And I just honestly, I think this is one of the nicest palettes I've ever seen. All the colours would go really nicely with each other, and that's what I like. I'm just going to go ahead and swatch a few of the shades for you. I mean, I could be here for ages and just watch loads of them, but they seem to be coming out of the pan really nicely, and I'm honestly excited to put some of these on my lid. So first of all, I'm going to start with my eye primer. I know there's loads of shades that I could try, but I'm just going to go for sort of like an everyday look. I'm only going out to see my friend. Yeah, let's delve into the palette once my eyelids have dried, because we don't want to ruin the palette. So I'm going to take this big fluffy brush and I'm going to go in with the shade Relentless. I'm just going to put that all into the crease. Gonna go with this shade into the crease. Oh my gosh, look how pigmented this shade is. It's a lot darker on the lid than it looks in the palette. And we're gonna just sort of flick it up onto the like brow bone, sort of bring it up my eyelid, just like this. Now I've got Relentless on the lid, I'm just going to take Rebound, which is this shade here. And it's like a nice pinky colour. I'm just going to take it on the same brush, because then that will blend it nicely with the other shade on the lid. As you can tell, it's just made a really nice sort of shade over my entire lid. I mean, maybe this is not turned into an everyday look, but oh well. And then the last shade I'm going to take is Thrill, which is this pink sparkly shade. Right, I'm going to take this small little brush here, and I'm just going to put that, you know, all over the lid, over the top of the pink colour that I used, just to add some more definition to it. I have to say there's been like a lot of fallout under the eye, just here. You can't really see it on camera, but yeah, so I'm just going to take this big brush and just sort of brush it away from my face. And then the last shade I'm going to take is Innovate, which is this nice sort of bright, creamy sort of shade, which will go in the inner corner, just in there to brighten up my eye. I have to say, the only thing about these shadows is that you have to like pick up a lot of product on the sparkly shades for it to actually like go on properly, which is kind of like a downside, because I think that's probably because they're so like powdery. That seems to be the finished look, and I really like the look. It's very sort of bold and powerful, but I think once you put mascara on, that will sort of tie all them together and sort of make it look a bit less powerful. So I'm just going to go off camera and apply mascara, and then come back and do a final sort of update before I go off for the day. I've done my mascara, which has definitely like tied in all the shades together and sort of finished the look, and I've put some setting spray on. So I'm completely ready to go now. I don't normally wear lipstick on a day-to-day basis, which is why my lips don't look good, but I'm going to put like some lip balm on, which is sort of tinted, before I go, and that's downstairs, so I can't do that now. But yeah, I'm really happy with how the foundation looks. It's really given me good coverage, and the concealer blended really well, the powders went on really well. I definitely rate this foundation, but obviously, like, I'm going to check back and see how well it's lasted throughout the day later. The eyeshadow has gone on really nicely, really pigmented shades. The only downside is it's quite powdery, but that's not really that much of an issue as long as you keep your palettes really clean. Other than that, the shades are really nice. They work really well together. All the shades complement each other in the palette, and I would highly recommend purchasing this palette. Again, I'm saying that now, but will I be saying that later when I check back in? I'm going to head out now, and then when I come back later, I'll do an overall review of the products and how they've lasted throughout the day. Right, so I'm back now, and it's now 9 o'clock. So I've been wearing the foundation for about 6 hours now, and as you can see, it's still sort of really nicely blended into the face. It's a little bit shiny, So if you had like powder in your handbag when you were out, you just top it up. But it's not that bad. It's not like it urgently needs topping up with powder. So I think that's really good. Even though it's not a matte foundation, it's still like, you know, not that oily. So I think it works really well with the powders, and the concealers definitely all stayed in place. Everything stayed really nicely on my face today, and so I really recommend buying this foundation because it's definitely really worth the money. It's $8.25 or $29, or you know, I'll link it all in the description so you can go and check it out. But it's just really good, and it's stayed on medium coverage. You know, it's kind of verging more towards full coverage, but it definitely is medium coverage. It's definitely stayed in place. The only area I would say that it has come off is the nose sort of area. Like, I don't know if you can see it there, but it's just a little bit like, you know, patchy a little bit. It looks a little bit like freckles, but it's obviously not. The closer you get up to it, you realise that it's not. But aside from that, everywhere is stayed really nicely in place. I've worn it for 6 hours and it still looks like the way it was when I first put it on. So I definitely recommend purchasing this foundation. Definitely worth it. And then moving on to the eyeshadow, the Revelation Regeneration palette, whatever it is called, this one. It's definitely worth it. As you can see, the colour has stayed on my eyes literally the whole day. It's not faded, it's not creased, it's not smudged, it's stayed in place all day, and it's still as pigmented as it was when I first put it on. So I definitely think this palette is worth it because it doesn't crease, it doesn't, you know, it just glides on the lid, blends really well, pigmented and everything, so it's definitely worth it. And it's also got loads of like brown colours, so if you just want to have like a sort of bronzy colour in the crease and the highlight on the inner corner for a day look, or you want to go glam for a night look, it's literally got all the colours to do both of those types of looks. So it's really versatile and it's really good. So I really recommend both of these products because I rate them. And if you want me to test out any other products that aren't like really expensive, like any other drugstore products, you want me to test them out for a video, just put them in the comments below and I'll be sure to check them out and do a video on them for you. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed it, learned something new. Just like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you on my next video. Thank you, bye.